Hi everyone, it's Elise from True Crime Cat Lawyer. That's right, I've combined my 3 favorite things into a podcast: cats, true crime, and lawyering. Every other Thursday, my co-host Winston and I bring you a new case from the Pacific Northwest. Winston is my sassy sidekick with a mustache who can often be found donning a bow tie. In other words, she's my cat. Winston and I are passionate about true crime and we love doing this podcast. As of this recording, we've released over 30 regular episodes and a few bonus episodes. Our episodes are focused on the victims and sharing their stories, something we take a lot of pride in. We're working hard to produce true crime content in an ethical way. Plus, every quarter, Winston and I donate our ad proceeds and Patreon proceeds to a true crime or animal-related nonprofit organization. If you're from the Pacific Northwest, or you just enjoyed true crime, Winston and I would love for you to check out our show. You can find us on all the major podcast platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and Good Pods. We hope you'll join us for some true crime in the Pacific Northwest.
Seriously Sinister discusses true petty crimes that may be disturbing to some.
Or could be easy listening to all of you psychopaths out there.
Names and places have been changed to protect the hosts legally.
Listener discretion is not advised. Seriously Sinister.
Welcome to Seriously Sinister, the show that takes 2 free samples when the sign clearly states 1 per person. This is Trevin.
And I'm Amanda. I love free samples.
Oh my gosh, do I ever.
They're the best.
There's so many different things that I wish you could have a sample of anything. Like that cheese place in Osceola.
Oh, yeah.
In Missouri, there's a place called Osceola, and they have the Osceola Cheese Factory. And at least pre-COVID, you could walk into their gas station, and they would just have little containers of cheese in front of the big things of cheese, so you could sample every cheese you wanted.
That's a lot of cheese, my friend.
I usually eat a lot of cheese, and sometimes they'll have some little sweet snacks, too, that you can sample.
Damn.
My favorite.
So, Trevin,
Yes.
What's dreadful in your life right now?
So I've got a product that is dreadful.
Ooh.
Have you heard of this thing called the Go Smile or ultrasonic mouth guard? There's another one that there's Facebook ads for it, and I cannot think of what it's called. But there's this goofy thing, and it's shaped like a retainer.
Okay.
But on the outsides of it are little individual toothbrushes.
What?
And it's like meant to go in your mouth and like electronic, so it vibrates, and it's supposed to like brush all of your teeth at once.
You're joking.
No.
Wow.
And it looks absolutely ridiculous. But obviously the fact that it exists is kind of a dilemma, I suppose. But my main issue is the way it's advertised.
Okay.
And the advertising like tagline for it is a 30-second solution to a 2-minute problem.
Okay.
So I get it that the way advertising works is you create a problem and then you create the solution, and that's how you sell it. I get that. But who in this world is so
busy that they can't brush their teeth for 2 minutes?
Yeah, who is so, they just have it all together so much that they're like, oh, I'm so efficient, but man, if I could just afford another minute and a half to my day, because I am always busy and always getting stuff done, that I need that minute and a half. Like, where in the world do you pick that to be the spot where you're like, I could shave some time off of this?
Right.
It's not the fact that, oh, I come home and I lay on the couch for 30 minutes before I get anything done. It's the fact that brushing my damn teeth is keeping me from possibly achieving my dreams. So I need to get this mouth guard. It's a lot like when people, and I don't know if you've ever dealt with people like this, but they read an article that says, like the Dirty Dozen, like with fruits, where they say, this one always has the most pesticides on it. So you've got a person that says, oh, I don't eat bananas because they're part of the Dirty Dozen. But they're sitting there like sipping a Diet Coke and smoking a cigarette or something.
Right.
It's like, okay, there's probably some other things you should be thinking about shaving before you start having a problem with this dirty banana.
Right.
all of the people that need this mouth guard, this ridiculous looking toothbrushy
I need to
mouth
see a
guard.
picture of this thing.
I want to find a picture of the actual one that I see the ad for all the time, but there's
Okay.
multiple ones. It really just looks like a retainer with funny little bristles around it, and you just turn it on, it goes zzz, and it just rubs your teeth. And
That is bizarre. You know how like you said you got like a water flosser thing,
Yes.
and I was like, ooh, I really want one of those. Now, something like that makes more sense to me because for me, flossing takes a really long time.
yes,
And also, I have like a built-in retainer on my bottom teeth that like I have to use a special tool to thread floss down in between each individual thing. So it just adds even more time to the normal person's floss.
yeah.
That is something that makes sense to me. But this?
Yeah, with the flosser, and I'm not trying to be a hypocrite with this, the flosser is I don't want to floss at all.
Yeah.
And so the water flosser allows me the ability to want to do it. It makes flossing more
Yeah.
exciting for me.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's not like brushing my teeth's boring, I'll never do it. And this goofy ass thing makes you want to brush your teeth.
That would be really sad.
Like if that was their tagline, like for all you people who hate brushing your teeth, maybe try this. That's better than that minute and a half you lose every day is very vital.
Yeah. Or even like that it does a more efficient job or something. Could
Which
be-
everything I've read, it does not.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, it's either more efficient or more fun. I'm with you. But the fact that they're like, a 2-minute problem. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Insert this weird retainer.
Maybe I'll make a TikTok commercial of all the things you can do in that minute and a half. That sounds like a fun thing to do.
That would be funny. Wow, that's dreadful. That's dreadful. I haven't seen any of those ads, but now that we're talking about it, I probably will.
Yeah, even if you don't choose to look for it, they'll pop up.
Wow. Well, I also have a dreadful dilemma. So last week I talked about a movie and parental reviews that really disturbed me. I am going to be talking about a show, but this is way more of a personal problem. It has nothing to do with other people's opinions. It's something that I feel really bittersweet about. So I love mediums. I've personally worked with one. Shout out to Linda Trent, who, oh my God, I know Trevin thinks I'm ridiculous. He's more of the skeptic and I'm more of the believer with this. We've kind of talked about that. But she is a local to Missouri medium that I've used, and she specializes in animal readings, but she also does spirit guide readings and can connect with past loved ones. She's really good if you guys ever want to use a medium. But that's not my dreadful dilemma. My dreadful dilemma is that I love Tyler Henry. Do you know who that is, Trevin?
Nope.
You don't?
I don't think so.
So he is like the young, blonde medium who did like, I think it was just called Hollywood Medium. Like he worked with all the celebrities and did readings for them. So I love him. And I loved that show. But now Netflix has a new show with Tyler Henry, and it's called Life After Death. And it is so well done. Honestly, like I think the show is great. I love how they filmed it. I love how it's not readings with only celebrities. It's like regular people who just have had really hard times a lot of the time with like family members or loved ones passing. And also, what's cool is it shows more into Tyler Henry because he's like a celebrity in his own right now. But it shows more of his personal life. And there's like this mystery throughout the show where his mom was abducted at birth, basically, from a con woman took her. And they're like trying to figure out why that happened and reaching out to experts that research family history and going and interviewing her biological siblings and her.
So she's still missing?
No.
Oh.
She's like just living her life. She travels with Tyler everywhere. He's really close to his mom. She just wants to know, like, how the hell did this happen? Why was I raised by this psycho con woman who also murdered people?
Ooh.
And why didn't I stay with this lovely real mom, you know, that had other kids that she kept? So it's like, anyway, the show is really good, Trevin. Actually, I think you would probably find it interesting. However, the dreadful dilemma part of this all, I had to stop watching it. Trevin, because There have been so many sad readings. And like, I'm pregnant, I'm hormonal, but honestly, I think even if I wasn't, these would just devastate me. Like, such sad ones about young kids passing away.
Oh, yeah.
He brings healing to the families, and that's fine and great and beautiful, but I just can't personally handle it. It got to the point where, like, every time I was watching it, my husband Jordan would be like, bro, you are always crying when you're watching this shit. Like, you cannot do this to yourself anymore. And the last straw was I was watching it and I was sobbing uncontrollably, and I had to immediately turn it off mid-reading because it was so damn heartbreaking. And Jordan was like, oh no, not again. And then I told him the story of what had happened, and then we both were sobbing. He didn't even watch it, and the story was just that sad.
Oh, his mustache was just filling with tears.
Yes. So to anyone out there, I'm just curious, like, if any of our listeners have been watching it. I really love the show. I love Tyler Henry, but for my own, like, mental health and, like, emotional well-being, I couldn't watch it anymore.
I don't know if I would watch it. I haven't really watched a Medium show since I found out Long Island Medium wasn't about a woman who drinks Long Island and does readings. I was a little disappointed by that.
I could see how that would be a letdown.
But I've always thought about watching those shows where it's not a life after death thing, but it's the ones where it's like people in hospice and they just like interview them and talk to them and like, how do you feel knowing that you'll be dead tomorrow or something like that? And then people are just like, I have regrets. And then,
oh shit.
And then the episode will end with words that say, and obviously they aren't here anymore.
Oh shit.
And stuff like that. And like a part of my curiosity is always like, I want to watch that. But then another part of me says, do not watch this.
Yeah. Well, I've never heard of shows like that. That's really weird. But there's shows of all kinds. But I don't know. I feel like I can handle things more when it's an older person who's lived a long life with regrets, maybe. But I don't know. The kids thing, just, I can't.
Yeah,
I can't.
Kids is a bad thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are going to do a new game. I know, Trevin, you did it on your Dr. Seuss episode, but I loved it so much that I was like, let's make this a permanent game. So we're going to do 2 truths and a lie.
I've got 3 wires. Which one do I cut?
I'll give you 2 truths and a lie.
But wait, we don't have time for this. Yeah, we tried it once. We liked it, so I hope you liked the new drop. We thought, why not go into year 2 with a new game?
Yes. So who's going first this week?
You.
Okay. Also, before I ask my 2 truths and a lie to you, or tell them to you, shout out to my partner, Jordan. I know I just talked about him, but it's his birthday on the day this comes out.
Oh, happy birthday, Jordan.
So, yes, he probably won't hear this because he cannot listen to podcasts at his job. But happy birthday anyway, you little shit.
Yeah, maybe you'll hear us from someone else's speakers.
Wouldn't that be funny? Oh my God. Okay, so 2 truths and a lie. This week, all of my statements will be describing the beautiful yet alarming world of pregnancy.
Ooh.
I recently sent Trevin a video of my belly moving like there was an alien inside.
I was scared.
And he was like panicked a bit, I could tell, just because you were like, if that was happening to me, I'd have anxiety and I'd be like, get this out of me now.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought this topic would be fun for all.
Woohoo!
So here are my 3 statements, and you let me know which are the 2 truths and which is a lie.
All right.
The first one. Developing babies in the womb are continuously pooping and peeing out toxins that are expelled from the mother's digestive tract. Statement 2. The mother's uterus can grow up to 500 times its original size during pregnancy. And statement 3. Stimulating a pregnant woman's nipples is the only scientifically proven way of inducing labor without chemicals or drugs.
My eyebrows raised on nipples. Oh, that's hard.
I tried to make this one kind of challenging for you. So sorry.
I'm going to you can't go wrong with nipples. So I'm going to say nipples is the lie.
And you are wrong, Trevin.
Damn it.
So this is a really interesting thing. I remember during my pregnancy with Lila that I was at the point where her head was stuck in my pelvis really low. I was waddling around like a freak of nature. And I was like, I'm going to try every single thing that the internet tells me induces labor. And there's a lot of things that they say, like spicy foods, walking a lot, banging it out. There's all these different things, right?
Man, that would be so awkward.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
trust and believe.
As a man, I feel like you'd feel so used.
Yeah. And also, I mean, well, more specifically, it does say just having an orgasm. So I guess you can do that on your own. But yeah, I was like, okay, I'm going to eat all the spicy foods. I'm going to walk. I'm going to do this. And there were like specific foods that people were like, this specific thing will make you go into labor. And I tried them all. Now, when I heard about the nipple stimulation.
I'm just imagining a pregnant woman just with like buffalo sauce all over her mouth, like, hey, daddy, I need to go into labor. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, that is a very weird picture. But yes. So I didn't know, like, what? Are you supposed to just like flick your nipples around or what? But my midwives were like, well, if you already have your breast pump, you can try and use your breast pump. And I tried it, but it turns out Lila's head was stuck. So none of those things helped because she wasn't going to come out anyway. But that is the one little like old wives' tale that's true. If you, I don't know, I guess you can like rub your nipples.
Keep some feathers by or something.
Or use the breast pump or whatever, but that is a truth.
All right.
So
this is an informative episode.
The mother's uterus can grow up to 500 times.
I believe that one, yeah.
That one, pretty spot on. Now, the one that is the lie, developing babies are constantly pooping and peeing and it exits through the mother's system, is not true.
Damn.
Although babies do frequently urinate in the womb, it is not expelled by the mother, Trevin. Babies drink their urine only to urinate again and again and again.
And keep drinking it?
Yes. Most babies also don't have their first poo until after they're born. There are about 12 to 20% of babies that can poop in the womb, but it actually can be really dangerous. Like it can get in a baby's lungs and cause health problems and stuff like that. It is more rare when it happens, but like sometimes if a woman's water breaks and it's not clear, then that means the baby has taken a poo and they're like, oh, holy hell, get the baby out now. We gotta like make sure their lungs are all cleaned out and shit like that.
Yeah.
But another thing, and I don't know if you know this or not, baby poo. It's just so fascinating. Babies' first poops are actually called meconium. Have you heard about this?
No, I didn't even know there was a name for that.
So, I'm so glad that I'm informing you so that maybe when the time comes and you have to change a diaper, you're not shook to the core. So, babies' first poos are thick, almost like tar-like substance that's black or dark green. And it's because babies haven't been exposed to like certain bacterias or like milk or anything. But it's like a weirdly thick tar-like substance. And it doesn't really smell. It's not really messy. Well, it's kind of hard to clean off, but it's not disgusting or anything, really. But yeah, babies' first poops are really freaking weird.
And you still have Lila's, right?
We kept it. We have it in a shadow box in her room. No, I'm just kidding.
How sweet.
No, and like I remember because she had like meconium for her first few diapers, and I had an emergency C-section, so Jordan had to change like the first few. But my first one that I changed, I was like, "What in the hell is this?"
Meconium.
It's a bizarre world.
It sounds like something that a mad scientist would steal to poison a city or something.
Like, I need all the babies. Meconium!
Exactly.
And then there's like a lightning that goes across the sky.
While he laughs into the air.
Yeah.
Well, that was fascinating and dreadful. So,
I love freaking you out.
let's go to mine, which actually, I have no idea why I picked this,
Okay.
but I want to talk about the North Pole.
Wow. Bring it on.
I was like laying in bed and just thought, North Pole? I don't know.
Okay, Santa.
Santa's not around. I was feeling a little bit like a ho, 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 so maybe that's it. Oh, I remember why. I do have a reason why.
Oh.
This episode comes out on April 6th. So
Jordan's
April
birthday.
6th is when man first reached the North Pole.
Oh, okay. Wow. Give yourself some fucking credit. Don't just call yourself a hoe and move on.
Okay, so this hoe was right. Okay, so 2 truths and a lie. Statement 1. The gravitational pull is actually weaker at the North Pole. Statement 2. A man drove a motorcycle to the North Pole. Statement 3. The North Pole hosts a marathon for people to run.
Huh. Well, a man drove a motorcycle from where? Like, I mean, if it's like far away, I'd probably say no. The gravitational pull, I mean, I'm no scientist, but it seems like maybe that could happen. No, you know what? I'm just gonna go with A. Or the not the motorcycle one, the gravitational pull one.
So you believe the gravitational pull is a lie?
Yes.
And you win.
Yay!
I made that one up because I thought for some reason on a different part of the axis, maybe it's something special. I don't know.
Yeah, I considered it for a brief second, and then I was like, nah.
So let's give a little bit of facts on this thing.
Yes, let me in on Santa's workshop.
Okay, so the first one that is true, the motorcycle to the North Pole. Oh, and I'm getting these from mentalfloss.com.
Oh,
So
speaking of flossing.
Yeah. A Japanese adventurer rode a motorcycle to the North Pole. In 1987, Tokyo motorcycle shop owner and racer Shinji Kazama left Canada's Ward Hunt Island bound for North Pole.
So he started in Canada.
Started in Canada, traveled 1,250 miles over sea ice in conditions so extreme that at times the motorcycle could only go 30 feet per hour.
What?
I can't imagine how boring that was.
30 feet? Why don't you just walk your motorcycle at that point?
Right.
30 feet an hour? Wait.
Like, how does it even stay standing up?
30 feet an hour?
Yeah. The patience on this guy.
Like, get off your fucking bike and run across that ice, boy.
Yeah. It took the adventurer 44 days to reach his destination. 5 years later, in 1992, Kazama completed the same feat at the South Pole, becoming the first and only person to ever reach both poles by motorcycle.
Weird. I
Yeah.
really like that guy's last name.
Kazama.
Yeah.
Also, just as a fun fact, there isn't actually any land on the North Pole. It's just like really thick ice. So, like, I wouldn't trust it, personally.
No.
The other one is the North Pole hosts an annual marathon. Since 2003, the North Pole has hosted an April marathon for the world's most extreme athletes. The 26.2-mile race is run on a hard snow and ice track, with competitors braving frigid temperatures that in past years have dropped as low as -20 Fahrenheit. The current record of the fastest time is held by Irishman Thomas Maguire, who ran the race in 3 hours and 36 minutes in 2007.
How many miles?
26.2.
Whew, I'm sorry, man. These marathon racers, I cannot relate.
I feel like that's really dangerous weather. How many people, like, do people not die?
I don't know. I feel like your lungs would like freeze as you're breathing in the air and like panting along.
Yeah.
And like if you started to sweat, you just have like icicles on your nose. And I don't know. It just seems maybe that's not even right. I don't know. But it seems wrong to me.
Yeah, and all of that makes no sense to me. Like, yeah, sure, I've got you the facts, but somebody needs to read a damn book on all of these details to tell me how. Because, like, 44 days with a motorcycle, you had to get gas. How'd you carry all this gas? How'd you get back?
Yeah. Yeah, Kazama. How do you explain that?
Yeah,
Is there a gas pump at Santa's house?
Unless it's one of those things where, like, when people do those, like, depth-defying swimming things, but there's actually people on a boat, like, watching them to make sure they can do it. It probably not like that. This is the 80s. I'm sure they didn't have a documentary people following him, but
Who
still.
knows? They have someone, like, on an ice raft just, like, following behind
You
them
can do it.
with gas and food and...
Hell, they can probably raft faster than he can motorcycle.
They're passing him. They're passing him and they're like, come on, man.
We believe in you.
Oh my God. Wow. Well, that was a journey to the North Pole. Okay, so it's story time.
Mm-hmm. And you're going first, girl.
Okay, so I have another twisted tale from the news. So I'm going to be taking it back to one of the most popular states in the United States to commit petty crimes in.
Florida?
Florida!
Ooh-wee.
I don't feel like I've done a Florida crime in a minute.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the guy who just can't get out of Florida.
That's okay, though. It's unlimited material.
Yeah, it's a fun place to be.
So here we go. When it comes to living a life as a petty criminal, having a solid escape plan is crucial. It is almost as important as remembering to breathe and brush your teeth. Almost. In the movies, we see lavish scams, plots, and robberies with well-executed plans. These plans are created by crews who usually include a mastermind, a couple of con artists, a tech wizard, and a getaway driver. Unfortunately, this story that I'm about to tell you has none of those impressive crew members. This crime is committed by one single man who really should have thought out his scheme much more like a sophisticated movie plot. Milton J. Hodges was a 20-year-old young man living homeless in Kissimmee, Florida during May of 2012. Over the years, he was no stranger to committing crimes. Milton had a long rap sheet, including his first felony charge that happened when he was a mere 8 years old. Reports state that he kicked a second-grade teacher and screamed that he would kick her in the face if she didn't leave him alone. The recklessness didn't stop there, however. At 18 years old, Milton was charged with armed robbery and for attacking someone with a can of Pepsi. Unfortunately, Milton wasn't the type to reflect back on his crimes with regret or with the promise of change. He was always looking out for his next scheme to acquire money and was open-minded to using violence whenever necessary. Milton was searching for his next perfect robbery location when he noticed an ad on the bench he was sitting on. It read, "Do it right for less. Start at Lowe's." And in that moment he knew his local Lowe's home improvement store was his next target. Without a plan of action, Milton walked into the store later that evening. He was greeted by an over-caffeinated and underexperienced Lowe's employee named Sally. "Welcome to Lowe's! Is there anything in this majestic store that I can help you find?" Milton just stared blankly back at Sally and eventually told her he was there to shop for banana and mango trees.
Banana and mango trees?
Sally pondered for a bit and then said, "I believe those are either located in our state-of-the-art lumber department, or maybe the garden area?" As Sally struggled to crank her brain into full gear, Milton walked away from her and headed to the garden center. He thanked Sally in his own head for the idea, as this department had a cash register and was already halfway out of the store. As soon as Milton entered the humid, jungle-like garden center, he quickly pulled out a large knife and held up the first cashier he saw. The cashier was a young, thin guy who looked like he was still in high school. Milton assumed he'd be an easy victim until the young cashier did the perfect spin move while he shoved Milton's head back and escaped into the main store. Milton shook it off as he approached the next cashier who stood behind the garden center's cash register. She was an older woman with a thick-framed body and a stern face. Milton held his knife to the woman's neck and demanded that she empty out the cash register.
"Give me money now."
The stern woman began to curse Milton out like he was one of her sons who had stolen her car in the middle of the night. "That's not yours." Her lecturing voice created a scene as a group of other Lowe's employees and shoppers began to circle around Milton. He anxiously looked around as the home improvement mob began to get closer and closer to him. In the group, he noticed a strong customer carrying 2 large bags of soil, a mother of 2 with a rageful and sleep-deprived face, and Sally, the store greeter, now carrying a sledgehammer. That is when the angry mob began to charge at Milton, chasing him out of the garden center and into the street. As Milton frantically ran away to cross the street, he was immediately blocked by a large white truck who was stopped at a red light. Instead of simply running around the truck, Milton decided to let out some of his built-up energy and punch the driver of the truck in the face first.
Hey, can I help you?
He felt much better after that, like a new wave of supervillain adrenaline was coursing through his veins. Immediately following his first roadblock, Milton saw a tall brick wall straight ahead of him. Rather than punching this as well, he used his newfound energy to scale the wall and landed hard on the other side. In his haste and desperation, Milton really didn't know where it was that he had landed. From the building's construction, it looked like a fancy resort of some kind. No matter the fancy level of his location, Milton needed an escape plan, and fast.
I gotta get out of here.
Still holding on to his large knife, he approached a resort security guard and stole a golf cart from him.
Hey!
He peeled out in the golf cart as he sped around the resort, looking for a place to hide. This task wasn't going to be an easy one, as Milton gradually began to understand what type of resort he had crash-landed into. Almost in slow motion, Milton's eyes began to take in the resort guest. Breasts of all shapes and sizes were slowly bouncing up and down around him. Butt cracks of all lengths were being exposed by flapping ass cheeks in the wind. Milton hadn't seen this many dongs swinging proudly between legs since his high school locker room.
Hey Milton, get in here and get my bag for me.
He was so caught off guard that he nearly wrecked the golf cart before snapping himself back into reality. It turns out that Milton had scaled the brick wall into Cypress Cove Nudist Resort and Spa, one of the finest establishments in Florida for naked people. Because of Milton's last-minute escape plan, he was quickly captured. The police stated that he was easily spotted due to the fact that he was the only clothed person in the resort. Plus, speeding recklessly in a golf cart probably only made it that much more obvious. Milton faced up to 10 felony charges for his failed Lowe's robbery, an unplanned visit to a nudist resort. I feel that after I've told you all this story, there is no need for me to explain where Milton went wrong or what we can learn from his crime. So I will leave you with a wise quote from one of our former presidents, Benjamin Franklin. By failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail.
You know, I've always liked that quote.
Have you?
Yeah, I've always thought that was a fun one.
Okay, I know none of our listeners know this, and I'm giving myself away, but wow, I was like heavy breathing throughout that whole story. This baby is weighing down on me. So just everyone appreciate Trevin's editing skills.
Yeah, we're getting towards the end of this, people.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Well, at the time of this recording, I have 5 weeks left. I have a permanent runny nose and I can't breathe. So it's really it's really something special.
Yeah, she told me halfway through that just going through a long sentence, it's like she just walked up a set of stairs or something. She's
yeah. Yeah, I'm like wheezing when I tell long sentences. But anyway, wow. So I didn't know that quote before.
Oh,
but
you didn't?
No, but I was like looking up planning quotes and I'm like, God damn, this sounds really reasonable, Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah, that guy knew a thing or two about a thing or two.
Yeah.
Was it really true, the thing about him, was it kicking a teacher or whatever?
Yes.
Okay, it sounded kind of made up, but the way you said it, I was like, no, I think that one's real.
Yeah, so everything about this story, besides like really minute little details in there, like I don't know if there was a girl named Sally. I don't know if the mob
If they had a sledgehammer.
had a sledgehammer and little tiny things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, this man had a long rap sheet. He did kick his teacher and like threaten her and got a felony charge as an 8-year-old.
Damn.
He did beat someone with a can of Pepsi. And everything about the crime, about him trying to hold up 2 different cashiers and then the employees and just store shoppers all chased him out together.
That is cool.
That's all true. He did randomly punch a man in the face in a white truck. And he did hold up the security guard and ended up in a nudist resort. It's all true.
Wow.
Yeah. It was really interesting. I had to read, I think it was like 15 or 20 different articles about this to get all of that information. Because a lot of the articles were just very brief and short and like, oh, isn't it funny that this robber just found himself in a nudist resort? But then I found all these articles about his criminal history and the whole thing about everyone like chasing him out of the store at Lowe's. And I'm like, this is gold. Like, this guy just can't get a break.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think of Breaking Bad, where it's like, okay, you got yourself in trouble, you kind of messed up, and you just keep making more and more mistakes. Like, why did you go and punch a guy in the truck?
Right.
That could have just, what if that guy just chased after you and tackled you?
Right.
What if he hit you with his truck?
Yeah.
It just seems like his whole world around him was crumbling and he was just making it worse for himself.
He's just flailing in panic, doing crime after crime. And I could not, in all of those articles, I could not find an update of like what he was charged with.
How long he went
How
to
long?
jail. Yeah, I wanted to know that really bad.
Yeah, I wanted to know really bad too. I looked forever and I couldn't find it. But I imagine if you're facing up to 10 felony charges, plus you have a rap sheet of other felony charges, I mean, he was probably in jail for a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe he still is. I don't know.
He seems hard to get along with too, so I can't imagine even if he got himself a lawyer, the lawyer did much for him.
Right.
He probably didn't have money.
Yeah, maybe he punched the lawyer in the face as well. I don't know.
God, that would be so awesome.
The main part of the story, the main like robbery was fascinating. And where he ended up was obviously really funny to be at a nudist resort. But yeah, I just thought his whole entire backstory was really weird too.
Yeah, I like the thought of almost like a townspeople like chasing Frankenstein sort of thing, just in Lowe's. Everybody band together.
Yeah, and like, I don't know, when I go to Lowe's, I see all these variety of people there. There's moms, maybe just getting something small. There's big, tough guys getting big bags of stuff. And there's always those happy greeters. And I'm like, I just picture them all gathering and rallying and being like, hell no, and chasing him out together.
Yeah, I mean, they want to improve their home and they want to improve their shopping experience.
Yes.
Don't come in here wielding a knife and acting a fool.
I know.
Well, damn, that was a nice story, and I'm excited to see what sound effects can come to that.
Yeah.
So my story this week will be a story from the news. And we're just going to jump into it and do our thing.
All right.
And here we go. They say the best way to find success in life is to plan for it. If you're going to paint a picture, it helps to know what you're creating before your first brush stroke.
What am I doing?
If you're wanting to lose weight, you don't just eat cake for every meal and hope to get where you want.
Beachbody, here I come.
Success is all about short-term goals adding up to equal one large goal. But for some, success isn't that hard to come by, which leads people on the quest for more success. This pursuit for more accomplishments has led to the creation of efficiency. How much success you can achieve in the least amount of time, or with the least amount of energy expended. Companies will pay top dollar for creative minds with only efficiency in mind. In the early stages of McDonald's, they took a cue from Henry Ford's assembly line and created their own version of a hamburger assembly line.
Order up!
Unlike earlier burger restaurants having each burger artist prepare the meal from start to finish, the McDonald's brothers had what they called the Speedy Service System. In this system, they would have a crew of 12 focused on specific tasks in the burger creation process. They even went as far as redesigning the kitchen to allow less physical steps between getting the food to its next station. With specific items pre-made, McDonald's was able to revolutionize how quickly a person can get their meal after ordering.
Yeah, let me get a...
Here you are.
Holy shit.
This efficient process allowed the business to create a higher quantity without sacrificing quality, giving birth to the modern fast food restaurants that we know today. Thanks to my struggles with OCD, I have a mindset on efficiency. I'm always thinking of ways I can multitask or what I can do in a small allotment of time to get things done. While working at my desk, I will also do breathing exercises. I will eat the same exact food for breakfast and lunch, just to avoid having to waste time thinking about what I will have. And I even wear the same jeans and shirt combinations for work, depending on the day. This started a fun little game between Emily and I, where she will say, "It's Purple Shirt Friday," when she sees me leave for work at the end of every week. In a lot of ways, this has saved my brain power for more important things, like story ideas and other creative ventures. It also allows me to not stress. Sometimes choices are hard for me, but there is a downside to all of this overthinking and preparation. I'm not always the best at multitasking. If I'm cooking a meal that requires frying meat and boiling noodles or rice, I will immediately feel like I am wasting time just waiting for the pot to boil.
I don't have time for this.
I will go ahead and work on another task, coming back to realize that I either boiled the water all over the stove or have way overcooked the rice.
How does this keep happening to me?
And if I realize I have 10 minutes free before I need to leave for work, I will try to get something done in that time, causing me to always be late.
Trevin, this is getting out of hand.
Today's story hits a little too close to home for me, following one man's personal quest for a more efficient day. Although the criminal act is absolutely unforgivable, I can't help but feel like I could see myself pulling a similar stunt. Justin was a 20-year-old man living near Long Island, New York. He was a methodical and structured young man. Nothing Justin did in his life was unplanned, and everything he did was executed perfectly. Every morning, Justin would microwave his Pop-Tarts for 17 seconds. He knew that 16 wasn't quite warm enough, and 18 would take a little too much of his time. Not only that, but he only ever had brown sugar cinnamon, as it retained its malleability without completely breaking. Basic strawberry did not make the cut. He had spreadsheets and documents to prove this. Every lunch was prepackaged and prepared before the beginning of each week. His socks were placed near his shoes, and keys were hung on the far right hook of his key rack, the optimal side for his left hand to quickly grab them on his way to the car. As each new quarter to the year would begin, Justin would meditate and conduct a business meeting in his head. He would imagine high-powered CEOs sitting around a large table discussing ways that Justin can improve on how he was living his life. He would then implement these changes in his routine to allow himself more success. During this particular quarterly check-in, Justin had brought up one of his most formidable foes. "We need to do something about the New York traffic. Imagine how much more time we could have if we didn't spend so much time waiting in the car," one inner-voice businessman said. "Damn it, Roger. You're always bringing up the traffic. Don't you know that these meetings are only things that Justin can change about himself? We can't change the entire New York traffic system," another voice in his head said, while slamming his fists on an imaginary table. Acting as a fly on the wall to his own thoughts, that's when Justin had an epiphany. He knew he couldn't change the roads, but maybe he could grant himself a little extra privilege in the daily frustrations of automobile congestion. The plan was simple. Justin had to gain access to the HOV lane on New York's Long Island Expressway. For anyone who is unfamiliar, the HOV lane is a lane reserved for high occupancy vehicles, also known as the carpool lane. This lane is typically used by buses and cars with multiple people, allowing them to avoid most traffic. If you ever see a lane on a large highway marked with a diamond, that is the lane. How do I get someone to ride with me to work? Justin thought to himself. I don't really have a lot of friends left, as their feelings usually take too much of my time. He considered making a friend finder account until a plan so evil and ingenious popped into his head. Remembering his background in high school drama, Justin dug through his closet and found his old drama theater mask. "Eureka!" he yelled. "I shall call you Toby, and you will be my friend." Justin walked proudly out to his 2017 Nissan sedan and opened the passenger door. Fitting the white mask over the headrest of his passenger seat, he sat back and looked at it. "It's uncanny," Justin explained. "It will look like I have a very dramatic friend sitting next to me at all times." For weeks, Justin would use the HOV lane and enjoy tons more free time. This allowed him to do so much more with his days, like rename his Spotify playlists based on mood and rearrange his spatulas based on alphabetical order of the dates they were purchased. Although all of his efficiency seems like a lot to juggle, Justin could take a huge sigh of relief, knowing that everything was under control. Anytime he got behind the wheel, he felt comfort in knowing that he had a fast pass to his destination. It also didn't hurt to pretend he had a friend sitting next to him. He would even have conversations with him sometimes. "Don't do this, Justin," the theater mask wailed with an intense performance made for the stage. "Thou art stepping foot into a world not meant for your tattered feet. I assure you, hell is empty, but the devils are in the HOV lane. Tread lightly, doth thee wish to seek condolences in flames." Although the imaginary monologue from his pseudo-passenger had a good point, Justin could not give up his cheat code at life. "Never!" Justin yelled as he cruised at a comfortable speed down the HOV lane. But not long after his act of defiance, Justin looked back and saw the flashing of police lights as he pulled over. "Thou hast been fucked by the long shaft of justice," the mask quickly added before the police officer approached the car. In June of 2021, 20-year-old Justin Kunis was pulled over for having a suspicious-looking mask in his passenger seat in the HOV lane of New York's Long Island Expressway. The officer found that Justin had been putting a white theater mask over his passenger seat in order to make it look like he had a passenger on board. Justin was ticketed with an HOV violation. Although I could not find any articles that explained how much his fines were, I did some research on New York's HOV violations. An HOV violation can add 3 points to your driver's license and can cost over $100 in court fees and fines if you choose not to fight it. The hiring of a lawyer would significantly raise this total if you attempt to scrub this from your record. We will probably never know exactly how much Justin paid for this extremely petty and efficient mishap, but I can't help but wonder if he learned his lesson. Because for me, when something gets in the way of my efficiency, I just find a way around it. There's no telling on whether Justin began heeding the words of his theater mask, or if he just kept taking illegal cues from the corporate CEOs in his head. But as Kathy O'Neill once wrote, in a system in which cheating is the norm, following the rules amounts to a handicap.
Wow. That theater performance made by that mask was so beautifully done that I almost lost myself.
Brava to me.
Yes. So are there pictures of the mask
Yep.
on? Oh, God. Okay. I can't wait to see that. He didn't even try to give it a body, though? Like, he just put the mask on the car? Like, on the car seat?
Or why did you not take the mask off when you got pulled over? I guess it
Right.
doesn't matter at that point, because if you don't have a passenger in your car, you're going to get the ticket.
Right. That's true. But now you just look like a freak.
Yeah, it's like, was this really that important that you needed to do that?
Oh my God.
Obviously, I made up all of his efficiency stuff. I just made it so I could connect to it better.
Yeah.
There wasn't really much to the article, honestly. But
Really?
Just what kind of car he drove and that he got pulled over doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes those are fun though, because you have a lot more to play with, but damn. Yeah, that's probably all people really like. It's one of those funny quick reads where it's like, a man just put a random theater mask on his car what is it called? Headrest, and thought that was fine. Like, try harder, man.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a possible only $100 fine, and that made newspapers and articles. So I thought we might as well talk this up and make it a big deal.
Yeah, seriously. Oh my God. Well, the fact that you were able to give that backstory did give our stories our connections of...
Oh my gosh, so many.
So many connections. There's one criminal who's not a planner at all. The other one's an over planner.
Mm-hmm.
There were dongs and long shafts of justice. And also we both ended with a famous quote.
Yeah, we were on the same wavelength on that one for sure.
That is so weird. Like we say quite often, we do not discuss our crimes with each other. We'll give each other like the criminal's name just so we don't do the same story, but I never research it or look at it because I want to be surprised.
Yeah, and honestly, the only reason why I did this story this episode is because I wanted to talk about the efficiency of brushing your teeth, and then I was like, I want to do a story about efficiency, and then I don't even think I used the word efficiency that much in the beginning of this, so I was like, well, I don't think I made that an obvious connection, but that's okay.
It's all good.
Yeah, we had other connections.
There were so many. Oh my God.
Dongs in preparation.
Beautiful. Well, great job. That was wild. I mean, the weird lengths people go to save time on things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know much about those lanes. I mean, do we even have any of those in Kansas City?
No, we don't. When I lived in Phoenix, they had those, and I remember for the longest time, like, what are these things? What does this do? I never really looked it up.
Yeah.
And I heard it was an HOV lane. I'm like, I don't know what that means. Whatever.
An HOV, what does that stand for again?
High occupancy vehicle.
Oh, okay. I know they have them in Colorado too, because when we've gone there, I've seen there's specific lanes for certain things, and I'm like, oh God, I thought Kansas City's highway system was crazy, but when you go to like an actual like huge city, no.
Yeah, I bet there's plenty of our listeners that are like, why is he explaining this? We all know what this is.
Right,
But we really didn't. I didn't know.
Yeah, no, I didn't know either. We just don't have anything like that. We just all have our regular lanes and we're all just waving or flipping each other off depending on the day.
Yeah, and the way these stupid Midwestern drivers are, they would just drive in them all the time.
Yeah, I know.
They don't deserve nice things like that.
Yeah. That's what I'm kind of picturing. I'm like, wouldn't everyone just drive in them illegally? But I guess if the cops are really strict on like giving people tickets, maybe not. I don't know.
We literally have people with big trucks who will pass people by driving on the shoulder of the highway,
right?
Because they're just like, my big truck has places to be. I have a big dick, blah, blah, blah. Like, I just don't. They will abuse it because they know they can get away with it.
Yeah.
We don't deserve an HOV lane. And honestly, as slow as the Missouri highway systems are, I don't want to see them build one.
Right. Please don't. Just don't do it. Wow. Well, that was amazing. What a fun time to be alive, Trevin. And
what a great fun, time.
Oh my God. But yes, thank you to everyone who's still listening. Like I said, I don't think I've even touched on this yet, that I will be probably taking a couple weeks at least off for maternity leave. We really don't know how it's going to work.
No, I guess just to plant the seed on you guys now, depending on how far we can get done in advance, which different things keep kind of coming up on us.
Yeah.
And I can tell that, like I said, Amanda's getting closer to the time. She might go into labor early, or, it might just be hard for her to prepare and do this. But I'm going to try to keep it going. I may have to take 1 week off if I'm not prepared for an early labor, but I've got a lineup of people to do sort of a Seriously Sinister and Friends sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I will be able to guide us with guest co-hosts for just a little bit.
Yeah. And we're trying, I promise guys, trying to pre-record these in advance. So hopefully my future self can keep going on without me for a bit. But we do have some awesome people that said they'd love to be just a special guest for an episode. So Don't worry, we're not going anywhere. I just have to give birth real quick.
Yeah, just gotta step out real quick and pop a baby out, and I'll be right back in.
BRB.
Yeah.
Well, I hope everyone has a great week, and just remember that no matter the crime, big or small, in the end, we're all doomed.
Doomed and shit.
Doomed and donged.
Doomed and donged. Yeah, let's just go with that. We'll keep that whole thing.
Bye.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to Seriously Sinister.
If you have a true petty crime story to share, please email us at seriouslysinisterpodcast@gmail.com or send us a Facebook message.
If you would like to support our show, please subscribe and leave us a 5-star review.
Also, tell your friends about this podcast.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Seriously Sinister Podcast.
And on Twitter at SeriouslySinPod.
Shout out to Trevin for writing all of the original music you hear and for producing our show. Follow him and his music at Fiesta Maiden on SoundCloud, Spotify, and Facebook.
And credit to Miranda Lucas for our awesome logo. You can find her on Instagram at MirandaLucas26.
All stories are written by myself and Trevin, and all stories are based on actual, true petty crimes.
The mask quickly added before the police officer approached the car.
Jesus.
I had to do it. When I wrote this whole thing, I was like, God, I hope Amanda doesn't go into labor before this one because I just want to be dramatic for her.
We both talk about dongs and long shafts in these stories, too.